Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Once again, welcome to the next edition of Wrestle Geek Podcast. We're back for yet another fun-filled episode of our podcast. I am your host, one of your hosts, Mitch, joined alongside my man, straight from Queens, New York, Rich. What's up, Rich? How we doing this week?
What's going on, Mitch? How are you this week? Everything going well?
Oh, it's going. We got a little snow yesterday, so we shoveled ourselves out and we made our way around to living our daily lives.
That's all we can do. We got to listen to those meteorologists. They predict an inch of snow. We get 5. It's all right. We keep on moving.
Yes. And then they predict a nor'easter and we get nothing. So
I'm telling you,
they're always on point. And also joined alongside by my other co-host, all the way from jolly old England. How we doing there, Howie?
How you doing, Mitch and Richie? All is well here in the United Kingdom. Jolly old England, as you said. It's traditionally called that, but it's not always jolly. I can tell you that. But the days are starting to get a little bit longer now, getting a little bit more sunlight, which is making people feel just that little bit more jolly. And I hope that's reflected in my tone this evening.
Oh yes, you're sounding sexy as always, Howie. Sounding good. So
why, thank you, gentlemen.
Oh, you're welcome. So we had a long week and weekend of wrestling. Lots and lots of stuff going on. Unfortunately, we have a slight time cap on our wrestling podcast. We don't want to talk everybody's ear off forever and ever and ever, although I'd love to do that. So we have to kind of pick and choose the topics that we speak about to keep the interest of the public, which, once again, on that note, we want to thank everybody for joining us for our weekly podcast. This is episode number 4. And we will be covering Monday Night Raw and the Royal Rumble, not in that order. Of course, Royal Rumble happened first, so we're going to try to be as chronologically sound as possible. So, we have to have honorable mention for NXT. I promise you, when they have their next takeover, which I'm guessing is going to be before WrestleMania, right?
Yeah, it should be. Yeah,
we will definitely cover that for all the NXT fans out there, myself included. But like I said, we do have limited amount of time that we can speak and keep everybody entertained. So what we're gonna do is we'll just say NXT briefly. Definitely a very firm show in my opinion. I give it like a solid 4.5 out of 5. NXT cannot do wrong in my eyes. I love NXT. It's definitely got a great feel of a happy medley between. If I'd have to say, it's like a happy medley between the independent circuit and old school WWE, and that's the way it feels to me, and that's why I hold it so near and dear to my heart. Howie, your thoughts on NXT very briefly before we get into the Royal Rumble results.
Yeah, I'm like you, Mitch. I'm a big fan of NXT. Everything they do, I get what you're saying about it being kind of old school, but mixed with that kind of new school of the independent scene. It's such a simple format. It's just that they're not over embellishing it. It just works like the wrestling shows of old. Really enjoyed the last pay-per-view, watched every single match. I've got to say, by the time it got to the main event, I was almost exhausted because I was watching it so in depth that by the time it got to Andrade, Cien Almas, and Johnny Wrestling, I was just like, where can we possibly go? What more is there? What more can be done to make this any better? But it was what a great event. Really, really pleased with it, and long may it continue. NXT,
Absolutely.
NXT.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And, Rich, did you have a chance to catch any of the NXT or?
I was able to catch some of it. I definitely got to say that the fan base compared to the main roster is there is no comparison. It's the NXT crowd is so into the event, so into the matches. It's like how we said, you have that kind of an independent feel. Each and every superstar that comes out there gets a big reaction, and the performances that these superstars put on are absolutely amazing. I mean, one match after the next, it's phenomenal. It really is, to say the least.
Yeah, and I think
that
a
really
lot of this
helps.
has to do with the Triple H. And I knew years ago. I never thought I would say this because I always felt like Triple H definitely had that thing where I felt like he always had to go over and all this other kind of stuff. But I feel like he's definitely done the right thing for NXT. He's got a great mind for the business from what we've seen, and I feel I feel like he's in the right direction when it comes to that. I kind of wish that he had his hands in WWE booking a little bit more. I mean, I'm sure he has some sort of influence on it, but I know most of it comes from the McMahon regime. And if he had a little bit more of a hand in WWE at this time, I think that it would be a little bit, a little bit firmer as far as the product goes.
Well, with the XFL announcement that has taken place over the last week, by 2020, WWE may be having less influence from Vince McMahon, and we may see Mr. Paul Levesque take the reins truly. And imagine the main product being as exciting as the NXT product. I mean, it would just be outstanding. That's what they should be aiming for.
It definitely wouldn't be a not miss show for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And but like I said, overall solid show. And we're moving on right into the Royal Rumble pay-per-view. We got it kicked off with the pre-show. We had the 6-man cruiserweight tag team match, which I didn't catch the whole thing because Richie and I were off picking up dinner for everybody at the local pizzeria. Big shout out to Rose's Pizzeria on Fresh Pond Road in Queens. My favorite place to eat whenever I'm in Queens, and Richie and I always have to make a trip there. So, but yes, it was. Did you see the pre-show, Howie?
I actually was watching a little bit of it before we went on air, and the thing that actually drew me to it is because people on Instagram were saying that Medusa, Alundra Blaze, was either drunk or on something. So I kind of locked in on that. And JBL was on that segment with her, and he was
like antagonizing her the whole time, right? Like
yeah. So I was fascinated by that, and I kind of just went through the matches. I've seen the results. Yeah, my focus really, because it was such a dense weekend of wrestling. The pre-show, I kind of skipped over because it was just the main content. I mean, what was it, like 4 hours of wrestling for the main Royal Rumble show? So it was just like I had to squeeze it all in.
And then we had Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson. I love those guys, my boys. Taking on the Revival, which I also love. There was two teams that I'm really fond of. However, I'm happy that the Revival scored the Duke with the what do you call? They did the. They got the pinfall.
Is it called
there was a pinfall. I know that for sure.
Their move is called what's it called? Like the cutter machine or something like that. I'm trying to think what.
Really cool move.
But they got the win. They needed the win. We discussed them in previous weeks. They're coming off of injury, trying to build them back up. They suffered that kind of slight burying from the Click and the Balor Club. So it makes sense that they get this win because we want to see them flourish. We want to see a real tag team rise, be the cream of the crop.
The cream of the crop.
Yeah.
Rise to the top. Oh yeah. Yeah, and they're a great team, man. They remind, like we were saying previously, they definitely remind you of an old, like almost like the Brainbusters or something like that. Tully Blanchard, Arn Anderson type group. They're really cool. And then on the pre-show, which I definitely had a problem with, we had Bobby Roode versus Mojo Rawley. For the U.S. title. I don't know why this was on the pre-show. I guess they had to fit it in because of all the other stuff that they had going on in the actual pay-per-view. I mean, realistically, if you think about it, the pre-show at this point is actually part of the pay-per-view because it's all free, because the free-for-all was intended to kind of like get people hyped up to buy the pay-per-view, so they would put those matches on. But now, since everybody has the network, and I'd say 99% of the people that watch already have the network, is there really a need for a pre-show or a pre-matches, or can it just all be considered the Royal Rumble pay-per-view? I don't understand the concept of the nowadays.
Yeah, right. Most people. Yeah, who's actually like? Yeah, I wonder what their demographics are of like. So like saying they get around a table and they go, "Oh, there's a fair number of people who haven't got the network and they're just watching in, and we've got to try and drag them in, and we've got to get them to pay $9.99 to take part in the whole event." When, like you say, most people they're good to go. They want the full product.
Absolutely.
They're paying customers already. You've
Yep.
got them.
So
This is
It
true.
doesn't really make sense. So why do these matches have to be labeled like an undercard type thing? You know what I'm saying? Like they can
Not
just be-
not even that. But what about why is there even championship title matches on a pre-card?
Yep. You know, and
I
some-
mean that drives me nuts.
I remember when
And what the hell is Mojo Rawley doing in that position? I heard
Seriously.
rumors that they were going to have because it's
We
like an
don't just
open-
get hype; we stay hype.
I don't know. The guy does man. No, he's all right. But I respect all the WWE superstars. But apparently there was rumors because it was an open challenge for the US title that they were planning on having either Dolph Ziggler come back at that point, but then they thought actually that's probably not a very good thing to do for his storyline. But then there was also rumors of Adam Cole being used. But then apparently they nixed that because they thought, well, actually, that's probably not the best light to show him when he, stepping into the main product, coming in and just kind of losing.
Right.
So they went with Mojo Rawley because let's face it, if he loses, no one really cares.
Who gives a crap? Yeah, he's definitely.
Zack Ryder does.
Yeah.
Zack Ryder watches it.
Woo-woo.
And he goes,
You know it.
Yeah.
yes.
We have a very very nice place in our heart for Zack Ryder. He's actually a cool guy.
Yeah,
I've
he
had
is
the
very
opportunity to
Very cool guy.
I'm
Yeah.
a very big fan of Zack Ryder.
and I've had the opportunity to speak to him here and there, and he's actually a real cool guy. And I know you've dealt with him, Howie. So we're
nothing but respect.
we are definitely in your fan club, Zack Ryder. We're behind you 100%. I was so happy.
100%.
I was so happy when he won the Intercontinental belt too.
Oh,
at
that was-
WrestleMania.
Oh,
That was probably
It
like
was amazing.
one of the best feel moments of WrestleMania.
Of the whole
When he-
WrestleMania, yes.
Because nobody expected that to happen, and I can say I was there live, and when I witnessed that, and that crowd, that was one of the loudest pops of the entire night. Seeing Zack Ryder win the Intercontinental title.
And then the next day he lost it. I don't understand why they did that to him. That didn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, it was
And
completely.
you know what it is
he's
about Zack
phenomenal.
Ryder? Is just he looked cool with the belt too, like because he had with the costume and everything like that. And,
Yeah, the Macho Man inspired. It was
Oh,
the WrestleMania
so
7
cool,
inspired
man.
gear, wasn't it? It
Yep.
looked great.
yeah, but whatever. I mean, it is what it is.
I mean,
They have reasons for making their decisions, I suppose.
He really set a real precedent for the way that superstars are interacting on social media now. I mean, he did that off his own back.
He set the
And,
bar.
he really made a name for him.
Because
Yeah,
if it wasn't for Zack Ryder's son, that YouTube series that he was doing, I think that kind of gave WWE the idea to go forward with stuff like this. And look how it's blossomed.
Yeah.
So in a way, WWE owes Zack Ryder, a little bit of a thank you. I would say. Would you guys agree?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I actually saw a very it's actually quite a humorous piece of writing from Mick Foley. I think it's featured in one of his more recent books. I've lost count of how many books he's done, but he's it's called something like it's a part of his book called "The Tragedy of Zack Ryder," and it kind of examines his kind of career. It's obviously it is done in satire. But it is actually kind of based on fact. Yeah, check that out. It's actually on YouTube. A guy actually has put it on YouTube and he narrates it out of the book and reads it. I think it's called "The Tragedy of Zack Ryder" by Mick Foley. But I have always wanted to see kind of get a push again.
Yeah. Yeah, and especially now, like he's in the best shape of his life. He's probably in better shape than like 90% of the roster if you look at his physique.
Yeah,
And he's a
for sure.
talented guy too. How many times have you heard about Zack Ryder injuring somebody or injuring himself? Like
Yeah,
he
and
gets. Everybody's gonna
the
get an
crowd,
injury here and there, but
the crowd would eat it up. Everyone really respects him and would you get behind him. I think just like they did WrestleMania at the time when he won the title, and yeah, he's respected like that. And he's clearly put in the time for the company. Like Miz is,
Yep.
they talk about him in high regard for putting in time. So I mean,
And I truly
come
feel
on,
too like,
WWE.
and I think we may have touched on this before, like off of the podcast, but I feel like Zack Ryder like pioneered the whole like digital age for the WWE. Like if it wasn't for him, I don't think that they would have caught on as quick with like the social media and all that stuff. I feel like he was the one who kind of brought them into that light,
Mhm.
Like didn't they even give him a belt, like Internet Champion or something like that at one point?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was his own creation. That was his, because he started off with one of the kid size replica intercontinental oval shaped titles, and he just like put stickers on it. And then he contacted it was Wildcat Belts, and he got one actually made with his logo as the main plate. And WWE let him use it. And
I think, like I said, they definitely should credit him for that. Like he definitely brought them into the digital era. I think, at least on from what I saw, from as a fan or whatever. So,
yeah, I mean, how many YouTube subscribers did he have when he first started doing the show?
Forget it. I don't even know. It was a lot, But he definitely, like I said, he kind of started that whole thing,
I also think he's contributed as well to this revival of interest in kind of Hasbro wrestling figures. I mean, they've always been popular, but his interactions with the community, as well as his investment in kind of rare, unseen pieces of Hasbro, prototypes and things like that. It's like folklore of the Hasbro kind of online scene now. His, the stuff that he's bought and his collection is absolutely incredible and vast,
out of this world,
and very well presented as well.
Yeah, and he's got a cool showroom.
True collector.
Yeah. So,
very true collector, and very much appreciated him being part of it.
So now we're shoving off right into the pay-per-view itself, and what do we have as the first match? The WWE Championship match, which again I do not agree with. I do not think that it should be the first match of the quote-unquote pay-per-view. I don't understand it. I always remember back in the day it was either right before or right after the actual Royal Rumble itself.
That's right.
And I don't agree with it. I don't think it, like, especially the WWE Championship. This is not the, Universal. We had to make a title for the Raw brand title. This is the WWE Championship first match.
Top prize in the company.
I mean, I guess maybe they wanted to kick off again the quote unquote pay per view with a phenomenal, no pun intended, match. But we saw it. AJ Styles, Kevin Owens. It's everything you expect and more. Great match. These two guys are amazing. They're probably, top 5 WWE guys right now. Amazing workers. They did great together. And, I'm happy that AJ Styles won the match. I'm a big AJ Styles mark, and I love him. I think he's great. And I also love Kevin Owens, too. But your thoughts on this one, Rich?
Oh, great match. Back and forth. I mean, the whole co-champion kind of storyline to it, I was kind of a little iffy about, but it was a good way to see Sami Zayn put kind of in the spotlight of being one of the top guys, because he's been shoved into the mid-card for so long. So seeing him get this opportunity is actually really refreshing for a change, going into it. But I mean, whenever you put these three guys into the ring, you get a phenomenal, like you said, no pun intended, you're going to get a phenomenal show. And that's exactly what they did. They performed very, very well.
Yep. And what about you, Howie? What do you say?
I was surprised, as you were, to see the WWE Championship being used as the opening bout. But as the evening went on, it was apparent that you've got 2 Rumbles and another main championship title match in the Universal Championship match, that they had to spread it out. The WWE title is the richest lineage of all the titles that they have in the company.
Right.
So you can't help but feel that it does slightly devalue it. But the wrestlers themselves, the sports entertainers, should I say, put on a great show.
They're sports entertainers, damn it.
God damn it, that's
They're not
a belt,
wrestlers.
that's a title. Yes,
That's what my father did. Wrestling.
Yeah, wrestling. It was a very good match. I'm a big fan of AJ Styles as well. Nice win, kind of a sneaky roll up pin.
Yep.
It kind of and there was also a bit of dissension as well with the result in that it was like the legal man. He pinned the. It was actually Sami Zayn who was the legal man and not Kevin Owens. So it kind of can continue the feud onwards. Right. But all in all, yeah, good start to the show.
Yeah, good match.
Yep.
Solid. And then next we had the Usos versus Chad Gable and Shelton Benjamin, who still don't even have a name yet, right? It's just the Gable and Benjamin.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yep.
I mean, whatever. This is 2018. I guess it's not necessary.
They need a name though. I was having this when I watched the Rumble. I watched it with my pal Tom.
What's up, Tom?
Right away.
Shout out to Tom.
Shout out to Tom. He's going to WrestleMania actually.
We're going to WrestleMania.
He is making the trip to New Orleans, but as well, we say here New Orleans, but that is incorrect because no one pronounces it that way. But yeah, he's making the trip. He did say that they needed a name, but what do you call them? Ready and Willing? I don't know. It's not like Power and Glory, that kind of play. Ready, Willing, and Gable.
It's got to be something like that.
But what I found interesting about this match, as I am in the flow. What I know is really, really technical observation that the Usos, who I guess were the heels going in, I actually found by looking at just the way that they were working, Gable and Benjamin were actually in what they were doing in their movements and the moves that they were using were acting more like heels.
Right.
It was a very, very Shelton Benjamin. There was a bit where he was softening up the leg of one of the Usos. Can't remember which one. And then he was using the ring post to smash his leg on it and stuff like that. And now back in the old days, that was
that's a heel move. That's a heel move. Yeah.
It was real heel moves. That's how you get heat.
I agree with that 100%. So.
Yep. Yeah.
And it was actually it was a very odd kind of way of booking that you have the guys who are the heels. Actually, I felt were kind of in a very subtle way, the role of faces. And actually the match went on where there was no pinfalls, but they clustered the two pinfalls together quite closely at the end. So, but I enjoyed that match. Actually, the Usos they're very slick as a tag team, and hence why they're the tag team champions.
Yeah, they're a great tag team. I just wish that we would have seen at least one pinfall out of, in favor of Gable and Benjamin. Maybe go on to that third final, to break that tie going into the match. It feels like with them losing 2-0 right away, you got quick in the match. It's kind of like deflates their tag team, I feel. But maybe, like you said, maybe with them doing kind of the heel moves, during the match, maybe it's kind of them getting frustrated and them turning on the fans and then turning into a heel kind of persona. So maybe it could be a slight curve and turn as going forward.
It must be because all the signals were there, but in a very, very subtle way.
Right.
Mitch, what do you think?
I agree. I agree 100%. I'm gonna go with that. I think that what you guys are saying is right on. I think honestly, I think in the end, I think that Shelton Benjamin needs to turn heel and just like beat him up and go on his own. I'd like to see Shelton Benjamin as Intercontinental Champion again or something like that. I think he should just. I honestly don't. I don't think they should be a tag team. I didn't think that when Shelton Benjamin came back, I was hoping that he would go right back into the U.S. title run or something like that. And then I feel, I don't know. That's the way I feel about that.
Yeah, it's funny that they brought him in as a replacement for Rocky Maivia version 2.
Yeah.
And he actually, I mean, the match itself was very, very good. Shelton Benjamin knows how to put a great match together. Gable, he's developing
phenomenal too. I think he looks better now than he did back in the day.
He's in unbelievable shape. Unbelievable shape.
He's blown up too. Like he just looks
Yeah.
big. Like why couldn't they just make him into like a singles? I don't know why they. It's like
Do you,
it's almost like a waste of talent.
Yeah.
Like like,
Yeah,
why-
they might just be using us as a way to get him relevant again and get him like to be known. I mean, how many years has it been since he's actually been in the company? What, like maybe 8 years,
something like
give
Yeah.
or take?
But
So
you
maybe
gotta- he left on a high note.
oh no, he did.
You know,
But I'm just
and
saying,
then-
maybe
but-
maybe with the newer generation of fans coming in, maybe he's, it's in there now with the network and everything going forward. Maybe don't want to like slowly introduce him back into the fan base, and then when he gets more relevant into with a high profile tag team, maybe I'll make that turn and that singles push maybe just a little bit more special, a little more better for him going
Right.
forward.
Yeah, because in that 8 years of him being away, there's a lot of younger fans who aren't actually familiar with him.
Right.
So they have to kind of rebuild his presence and status amongst new fans. And yeah, it'd be really interesting. I hope they don't just like chuck him to the side and focus on Gable. It would be great, like you say, Mitch, to have this tag team that we don't really feel it should be necessarily, that actually comes to something where a good result at the end of it that helps the trajectory of their careers.
It still doesn't feel like a true tag team though when you watch them. It still feels like they kind of been thrown together. It's not like at least like when Cesaro and Sheamus got thrown together, like they made it work, and now they're like they got the name, they have the look, they got a style.
And it clicked, and it did. They were both kind of like like foreign guys that aren't U.S. You know what I'm saying? They from different parts of other countries, but still like they almost still had that spirit of that failed League of Nations, but they made it work, and they made it kind of cool, with the kilts and everything like that, and the jackets, and the kind of like whole like punk, steampunk thing going on. I feel like that was cool. They definitely made that work.
I mean, I look at Gable and Benjamin. I kind of get the same feel looking at like Heath Slater and Rhino. Like they're a tag team, but they really don't click. I mean, more so Slater and Rhino click because I mean they've been tag champions already. And you kind of can feed off of them with a little bit of comedy, but I really don't. I don't get nothing watching Gable and Benjamin. I mean, Gable I think is phenomenal in the ring as far as being a single competitor. I can see him going up maybe as a U.S. champion, an Intercontinental champion.
Yeah, you see some of those like German suplexes he plays.
Oh my god! I mean, it's amazing what he can do, especially when it's like that finishing move. Like he rolls through it and then lifts him back up again, drops him with the reverse neck breaker.
Yeah.
It's like holy moly!
That finisher was it was used by Doug Williams, British wrestler. He called it the Chaos Theory, and he used it in TNA, where it's he rolls them up and then flips out into the.
That's so cool, man.
It's such an unbelievable move. So cool.
I think with Gable, I mean, he reminds me. I've said this before to my pal Tom, who I watch a lot of wrestling with. He reminds me. This might be controversial, but he reminds me of a young Bret Hart. When you look back at Bret Hart, kind of really, like Stampede Wrestling, and
technician.
That to me, technician, and and I say that because I think that also shows where he is in his development as a competitor. There's going to be so much more from Gable that he's in this kind of early stage. He's very young and very, very talented, and obviously of an incredible kind of pedigree, being an Olympian.
Right.
So they know that this guy is, obviously if he's stays healthy and and keeps doing what he's doing, there's going to be a lot from him, and I'm sure one day we'll see a good feud between him and his former tag team partner as well.
Yeah, and I still think that was kind of premature that they broke them up. Like they were just starting to get a little steam, and then all of a sudden, he was gone. Like
Jason Jordan.
Jason Jordan, yeah. It was just so weird, and.
That was Steiner Brothers 2.0 right there. It really was like how they were.
And the fact that the funny part was that they people were always constantly comparing them to like the world's greatest tag team. And then when he left, they went and got Shelton Benjamin to take his place,
right?
Which I thought was like the most ironic thing about it. You remember that? Like even me and Richie were saying. I remember they thought at first that Angle was gonna come in and like wrestle and recruit them as like the new team Angle kind of thing, Yeah. And they were throwing
it's like when they put Heidenreich with Animal.
Right. The new LOD.
It was never gonna work.
No. No. But I could have totally seen Angle like leading the new team Angle into like to being success. You know what I'm saying? That would have been cool to see them with like the hooded sweatshirts and stuff like that. That would have been really really cool. You know,
That would have been better. It
Yeah.
would have. It was the logical thing to do.
and then then they could have brought Shelton Benjamin originally, like I said, with the U.S. Challenge or something like that. He
Right.
could have been a singles competitor. I think that he would have been better off. But
There was
you
so
know,
much more actually left for American Alpha
yeah,
to do.
that's what I'm saying. It was
Uh,
completely premature.
They,
You know,
they, were, they were only starting. They were only starting their path until
they
storyline.
were cream
Jordan.
of the crop type stuff
Yeah.
together. They were cream of the crop, and they
rise
to the top,
yeah.
and that you can only think. I mean, as we've seen with Jason Jordan, I mean, where that's the criticism that I guess people have is they dislike him because they feel like he's being perhaps prematurely pushed. And then what do? They could go and put him in a tag team, a cobbled together tag team with Seth Rollins, which we'll get obviously to that match a little bit later because he does feature in his own interesting angle from the Rumble. So we'll get to that. But what was the result on the Usos won, didn't they, in their match?
Yeah,
against,
they won the
Yeah,
first. It was a
2-0.
2 out of 3, and then they won first 2 things. Like the other, Benjamin and Gable didn't even get one fall. So it was,
Yeah, there was. Actually, I thought the turning point
they
would
just
be
kind of
when there was like
steamrolled them
they
and they
did-
went over. That was it.
yeah, they did a power bomb on the outside. It was like
That
a
was
power
cool,
bomb
yeah.
driver, and one of the Usos, Jimmy or Jay, can't really tell, took an incredible bump to the mat on the outside.
Yeah, I thought he really got hurt there.
And when I saw that, like they showed the replay of it, and he got up like it was nothing. And that sometimes when I see bumps like that, I'm just like, how the hell does somebody get like power bombed, like that, and driven by another guy jumping down on top of him, have his head bounced off the mat with a concrete floor underneath, and get up moments later like, yeah, I'm fine, holding the belt. Jesus. Scramble your brains.
Right. And up next, we have the men's. It's funny to say that, although I do appreciate it.
May I say this?
Oh,
The
sure.
men's Royal Rumble.
I love it. The men's Royal Rumble match. I'm not gonna go through each entrant. I'm not gonna do that. Let's just talk about it as a whole. Nobody wants to hear play-by-play of every person that walked out. We've all seen it, hopefully, at this point. I'll say it did start off with Rusev and Finn Balor. They were 1 and 2. So basically the debate we were having the other day at Richie's house during the Royal Rumble was, I brought up the fact that how is the first entrant any less or better an entrant than number 2, because they're both starting the match off in the beginning. So in essence, they're both entry number 1 because they're both starting the match at the same time. So I never understood that concept, and that's why it always angered me that they always say, I mean, Shawn Michaels is the man, but it always angered me that they said Shawn Michaels was the first person in history to enter the Royal Rumble at number 1 and win, when meanwhile Ric Flair in 1992 won the Royal Rumble coming in number 2, which respectively is number 1. So, I never understood that whole concept.
Same difference, right?
It's a very, very valid point. Very valid point. I mean, unless they time it by you're in the ring for an extra 15, 20 seconds.
Yeah, just standing there waiting for the next guy to come in, So it doesn't really make sense if you think about it. But in any case, neither one of these men wind up winning the Royal Rumble, so it really doesn't matter, and it's just me rambling on as usual. So Rusev comes out to a huge pop.
How over is Rusev
Oh, my
nowadays?
God. How awesome does he look? Man is in the best shape of his career so far that I've seen. Oh, and he's so over, and like
it must be the
what do they have
cardio he's getting
against
with
this
Lana.
man? Like, what do they have against him? That's what I want to know.
I wonder if he's still being punished for saying he was engaged to Lana after they had the split. There's no, you have to keep in kayfabe. Yet everything is out in the public eye anyway, with social media and everything else, and total divas and everything. Kind of so they really had no reason to be upset with this guy.
I don't know, man. All I know is I love Rusev. He's got that old school feel. He's got a great personality. He's funny. He's tough. He's a scary mofo when he's got to be. I loved his heel run. I loved that when he was undefeated and he came out in the tank. We were talking about this the other night, Rich, off of the podcast.
Yeah.
Amazing talent. it makes everything look so real. I'm almost positive that when he hits you, you don't feel a thing, but it makes it look so good with those kicks, and I love the accolade. I love the the old school camel clutch. I break your back, I make you humble. I love it. I crush you. I think I think Lana should still be with him. I think they were a great pair. I mean, they are a real couple, but a husband and wife. But I think they should have kept them together. I think they had a great thing going there. Whatever. What do you think, Howie?
Yeah, Rusev, he's an absolute talent, isn't he? Really. I think it must come down to the fact that with the success he's found with his slogan, his gimmick of Rusev Day, is that it's one of these ones that's taken on a whole kind of organic life of its own, and it wasn't intended to be as big as it was, and so they're kind of like, oh wow, we didn't expect it to be this big, so we don't actually really know what to do with it. But I think the pairing of him and Aiden English as one of these on paper, you'd think it's two guys that I think they didn't really know what to do. They was like, sorry guys, we haven't got anything for you, so we're just going to put you together. But they've made a really great job out of they're pairing their gimmicks together, and yeah, it started really well having Rusev in there. I also think Finn Balor, being the other guy that was in from the beginning, obviously he was the guy that was in there the longest.
Yep.
For Balor,
Finn Balor had a performance of a lifetime in the Royal Rumble. He showed
55 minutes or so in there, I believe.
Balor is going through an interesting phase at the moment because I find
he's like floating, right? Kind of like floating.
He's floating, but they're making him look strong, but not allowing it to go too far. Hence the result that we saw on Raw this week.
They're hesitant to put him over for some reason.
Yeah. I think it's one of these ones because obviously everyone's still dying. They took he lost the Universal title. And
they're probably afraid that Seth Rollins is going to injure him again. That's why they're they're hesitant to give him a push. I still think it's 50% his fault, but I mean, I don't put all the blame on Finn Balor. I think first of all, they should have stopped him from using that buckle bomb anywhere to anybody once he heard Sting. I think that should have been the end of the buckle bomb, especially the way he does it. I feel like he missed shot at that time, and then he basically almost did the same thing again to Finn Balor. I feel like if he was a little bit closer when he tossed him into that padded guardrail, I feel like he wouldn't have gotten hurt. I feel like it was just because of the angle that he threw him. Like, he should have known better. Like, why isn't he going closer before he releases them? I understand you can't see through the guy, but you should kind of have an idea. Like, if you're going to do that move, you should be able to execute it properly. And after, they banned him from using the curb stomp that hurt and injured 0 people because it was the curb stomp. All right? And they stopped him from using that, who he's hurt nobody doing that move to. And then the buckle bomb they keep allowing him to use after he basically retired Sting and then hurt Finn Balor in the process. Like, where's the mentality of that? I mean, I know I'm doing a tangent again. I'm kind of veering off, but I felt like this is a good time to kind of insert that because we're talking about Finn Balor getting injured. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Damn it, Seth Rollins, clean it up.
And look what he did to poor fucking John Cena's face.
Oh my god,
that was brutal. That was brutal.
How does that happen accidentally? It doesn't. That's how. Like, you're just careless. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I've never seen an injury like that before.
Oh my god.
Wrestling, my god, it was just insane.
I think the worst broken nose I think I've seen has got to be Joey Mercury. I think it was Armageddon.
The ladder when his face got destroyed.
Yeah, my god.
That was the worst. He literally went out of the ring. He got back up, and he was a mess. Busted nose, black eye already, swelling shut. It was brutal. That was probably one of the worst injuries I've seen.
Yes, you're right. That was an incredible injury, and my god, lucky. Yeah, he recovered well from that one. My god. Retained all of his faculties after. My goodness.
Yep. So we're getting into the Royal Rumble match.
Yeah.
What are the highlights of this match? I'm gonna throw out one. Maybe we'll do a round table. I'll throw one out, and then you guys go ahead and we'll piggyback one another. I think
Yeah.
for me one of the big highlights of this match was seeing the Hurricane. I don't know why, but like that warranted like a huge pop, and it was to me it was
So
pretty
you,
it was pretty awesome.
so you mean to tell me the Hurricane came in and got thrown right out? What's up with that?
What's up with that? Folding arms. I don't know. That was pretty cool. I thought that was. What did you guys think of that? That was a cool entrance. Somebody was like very unexpected.
It was unexpected. It was unexpected. It was cool, nostalgic seeing something. Seeing him again. The whole fact that he went, when he went after John Cena, he did it. It was after John Cena he went after, right? He went to go over the choke
Yeah,
slam.
and then he threw him out. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was cool because I remember when Enzo got the shit canned. I remember that he posted on some sort of social media. I don't know if it was Instagram or whatever, but he showed himself with 2 cruiserweight belts, and he was like, "I'm available" or something like that. And he was like kind of saying like, take me back, and I'll come to the cruiserweight division. And then all of a sudden to see him come out at the Royal Rumble, it was like, wow, that's really unexpected. But it's kind of like, how did we not see this coming, kind of thing? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. True.
It was funny. It was a really funny.
Cool.
It was a funny spot, and I noticed that they were using Cena a lot during the Rumble to kind of get heat. He gets it automatically, but by him doing that, he got it even more. They were playing. I think they were playing to that.
Agreed. What do you think, Howie? What was a standout moment for you as far as like the Royal Rumble goes?
Not so much a standout moment; it's more of an observation. When we were talking last week about the 1992 Royal Rumble, one of my favorite aspects about it was how organic it is, how well it flows, and it's very continuous. And there was always something going on, and the workers, the wrestlers, are confident in making everything good, organically on the fly. Whereas I find that there was just a lot of moments where it was very contrived in this Rumble. So it was a bit like, oh, here comes Elias. So everybody, it did appear that a lot of the people who hadn't been eliminated from the match, it was as if they had booked a holiday to Barbados, disappeared for 2 weeks, and then came back and joined back in the Royal Rumble. And for these kind of sections where they wanted us to kind of have our all of our attention on it. And I did notice that later when Shinsuke Nakamura made his eventual entrance, that it was kind of like every single competitor had pretty much been briefed that when Shinsuke Nakamura enters the ring, get down. And they were all just lying on the floor, just like waiting as Nakamura just makes his entrance and just starts like, taking on person after person. So I guess I'm trying to think now of something actually really positive to say rather than just a negative observation such as what I've just produced. Let me think. Something positive. Remind me of some people who were in the Rumble again. Throw some out there. Let's think. Early on in the match. I'm trying to think early. What happened early on? I can't remember 30 superstars. It's too many. God damn it.
All right, so while Howie gathers his thoughts, Rich, what do you think? What was the standout moment for you for the Rumble?
I would say seeing Rey Mysterio. He looks like he was in the best shape of his career.
Oh, he looked great.
Going in there, he looked absolutely. I mean, incredible. Doing the 619, doing flipping, doing the just doing like flips off the top rope and everything. He looked phenomenal. He looked in a much better shape. He wasn't wearing the windbreakers or whatever he was usually wearing. He went back to wearing the old style trunks and stuff, from when he was in
that was
WCW
that was the
days.
first thing. Remember when he came out? I was like, oh my god, I can't believe he's not. He looks so much cooler without those big piggy pants on.
Yes,
I like him so much better with the old school like tights from like WCW days and like beginning of WWE days kind of thing, So
very very nostalgic.
Cool. And he's like definitely old. He's definitely gained many tattoos since leaving. He's definitely tatted up. So, now what do you say, Howie? What do you think about the Rey Mysterio?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, he looked, as Corey Graves said, he absolutely looks like he's in the best shape of his
Oh
career.
my God, he looks great. I mean, and that's what you got to do. Like,
oh,
we even made a joke about it, like with one of the guys, this guy Jay, that we were watching the pay-per-view with, and he said, I said to him, I said, well, that's how you got to do it. You got to leave WWE for a few years and like regenerate yourself and come back looking like $1 million.
Yeah, I remember
you know?
you saying that, and it's true. It seems like a lot of these guys that leave for a while, when they come back, they actually have the chance to, like you said, take care of their bodies, get full rest and everything, and then when they get back, they look in phenomenal shape.
Yeah, he looked.
It
great.
was. I thought
Definitely
it was
looked
good
great.
to see Adam Cole in there, and Andrade Cien Almas had a pretty good showing there as well. And
Yes,
he was really holding his
absolutely.
own.
Yeah, he's a great talent, man. I think he has a great future ahead of him, and that girl he's with is super hot too. But
Did you guys notice though that other than, like, obviously the Hurricane, other than Rey Mysterio,
I know it's Richie, because Richie's girlfriend and fiance listens to this podcast, so he immediately skipped over the fact that I mentioned that this girl is super hot. But my fiance listens as well. I mean, I'll probably get it too. But you know what? I had to say that she looks amazing. Wouldn't you agree, Howie?
Oh, actually, one of the conversations that myself and my friend Tom, as we were watching the Royal Rumble,
whoa, let's keep it easy. Let's keep it easy. Mom is listening.
No.
Mom is listening. Shout out to Howie's mom. All right, we're so happy to have you.
This podcast is rated G, guys. Rated G. General audience.
I'll save this for the women's.
Don't
Royal
make
Rumble.
me
It's more
call the
relevant
right
to
to
that
censor
one.
on you. Don't make me call the right to censor.
But I absolutely agree with you, Mitch. Andrade Almas's manager. She's one of my favorite superstars. But Andrade Cien Almas is a great athlete as well.
So, but you guys,
I was just changing the subject. I'm just trying to steer us.
I'm trying to get this point across. Damn it! So, did you?
I'm trying to steer us away from murky waters.
Hold on a second. Let me if I could be serious for a minute. Let me do something. This is for you, Rich. Here we go. How are you listening?
Yes.
Here comes Steven Richards, the Good Father, and Sean Morley, and Richie Lojek.
Keep it clean.
Right to Censor is here, ladies and gentlemen. That's right, the surprise entrance to the Wrestle Geek podcast. Oh my God.
Okay,
Oh,
guys,
man.
I've actually thought of what my favorite moment was of the whole Rumble.
Oh, finally, thank God.
Yeah, okay, I loved it. I loved it.
Finally, something positive.
Finally. My most positive, I really enjoyed it. Once we got past the number 30 and we got down to the final 6, the moment of the new school and the old school. So squaring off.
Oh,
so
that
what
was
was it?
cool.
It was Cena, Orton, and Mysterio.
Mhm.
And on the other side, you
Nakamura.
had
Nakamura, Balor, and was it Roman Reigns? Yeah, Roman Reigns.
Yep.
Yeah.
that was
really
quality.
cool.
That was quality.
The big dog.
The big. Let's not get onto Roman Reigns
big
again.
dog. Oh yes.
The gardener.
The gardener.
It's my yard now.
He's Mexicool. I wasn't being racist first. First of all, Roman Reigns is not Mexican. He's Samoan. And also, the Mexicools used to come down on the mowers
he
in
was
case you
related.
didn't know.
He is related to Yokozuna, and
Exactly.
they did make him Japanese, wasn't it?
Right.
And, he's not Japanese.
Not at
So
all.
they could have
Not an ounce of Japanese blood.
could have
in him.
easily. Exactly, but he carried it off well, didn't he? You know, he would never have
He made
thought.
it work. When I was a kid, I thought
You-
he was
I- when I was
Japanese.
young, I
had
thought-
no idea. Yeah.
I totally thought Yokozuna
I thought he was
was
really a Samoan.
legit
sumo.
sumo.
But
Yeah.
yeah, so we get down to the nitty gritty, and the last 3 folks in the ring are the 3 people that Richie, Howie, and myself predicted. Each one of our predictions were the final 3 in the ring. That was like a nail biter, folks. 'Cause I was like, I really don't want Roman Reigns to win, but I want to be right so bad, and I want those bragging rights. And then it turns out that
I was on the other spectrum. I was like, I don't want to be right. I don't want to be right. Cena, get out of the ring. Get
please,
out of the
John
ring,
Cena, throw yourself out of the ring. And then push came to
Do the
shove,
right thing, John. Do the right thing.
and a very nail-biting, suspenseful ending when all signs pointed that Roman Reigns was going to take the prize. Nakamura wins the Royal Rumble, and eliminates Roman Reigns like a boss, kicks him in the face, and just tosses him over like he was yesterday's
Like
garbage. Yeah, like that was
It was
that
a really great build-up. It was amazing build-up. I actually thought from the final four, that whole bit of work they did, just with the final four guys in, what was it? It was Roman Reigns, Shinsuke Nakamura, Finn Balor, and Roman Reigns. I can't remember if I might have repeated
John Cena.
John Cena. That's it. I thought that the final four, and I love the way that, like you say, Mitch, Nakamura. It was kind of like he met the Kinshasa mid-spear.
Oh, it was so cool.
It was great, and then like you say,
I thought he really smashed his face. I was
ring.
like, oh my god! And he just picked him up like a piece of garbage. That was awesome. Definitely didn't make. They definitely didn't make Roman look strong on that one. Let me tell you that one, folks. That was Nakamura all the way, 100%, 100 miles an hour, going right through him, and that was awesome.
Just you wait for the next few weeks. Roman Reigns is going to look so strong. They're going to just he'll just be. I'll tell you what. Actually, John Cena. John Cena eliminated a lot of young talent. Actually, in this Royal Rumble.
Gee, what a surprise!
Guys from NXT, things like that. So that, and I think what they said out the back was, they said to John before he went out, they said, John, remember to put the young talent over. And he read that wrong, and he thought literally over the top rope. And and there it was.
Overall, pretty good Royal Rumble. We'll get to it later, but I honestly did feel like the women's Royal Rumble was actually a better match than the men's Royal Rumble.
All right, okay. Here's my observation with this, okay, because I was wondering if they were going to put the men's one on first, because WWE, if they had put the men's one on last as the main event, that it would have been a reason that they would have said that the women were being held down by the patriarchy.
Right.
So they were like, no, this is the first time, so this is going to go on last. But what I did feel was that after the men's Royal Rumble, and Shinsuke Nakamura has that incredible finish and win, announces that he wants to take on AJ Styles at WrestleMania. It was a bit like everybody had you know what I mean? Everyone was like, it was like post coitus bloody exhaustion. They were all, everybody was just like, I'm done. Like, when you're finished, you need to have a sleep.
Make coitus, not war, folks.
Everybody was just like, flipping heck, worn out after that incredible 30-man Royal Rumble.
Woo! They should have saved that moment for Raw. I think they should have just had him come out. SmackDown rather. They should have even. The hell with it. Just have have a Raw and SmackDown Super Show for Raw. Just combine the shows for both. Just do that for 1 week, and they could have had him come out. With the in the beginning of the show and just announce that he's going to fight AJ Styles. You know what I'm saying? Like, is he here? Is Shinsuke Nakamura is in the building, ladies and gentlemen? Will he be facing, the Raw World Champion? Or will he be facing thing? And then when he comes out, he said, AJ Styles.
Not even. I even got a better one. Why didn't they actually have an actual contract signing in the ring? Have both AJ and Brock in the ring.
Yeah.
His sister comes out,
who does he choose?
And then he looks at the whole thing at 8. And then he'll he does the whole AJ Styles.
Well, I'll tell you why they couldn't
do
that, because Brock Lesnar wasn't available. He already exhausted his
that's
his
right.
one per every 3 months appearance. So,
right.
But
it might have been quite good at. I was actually just thinking of an interesting angle there that they could have done with that, but I won't go into that now. But yeah, by the time we got to the female Rumble, I think everyone was a little bit exhausted. It took a little bit of time for everybody to get back into the groove and to really, in between, we had the Bar against
Seth Rollins?
Rollins and Jason Jordan.
Jason Jordan was nowhere to be found. He was a little dizzy on the outside.
Well, go ahead. You know what? Just go ahead and take my job. It's fine. You can go ahead and announce the next match. That's fine. I'm just gonna sit here and be quiet. Okay. You know what? Thanks a lot, Howie. Thank you. You just take over the podcast. All right. Just take it over. All right. Just play NWO. That's it. I'm taking my headset off. I was just doing a Royal Rumble. I'm taking my headset off and I'm walking out of here. I am out of here. That's it. I'm gone. I quit. That's it. You do this yourself. You guys can handle this.
Oh, what are we gonna do, Rich?
Jeez, that was easier than I thought.
So yeah. So in between the
I'm
rumbles,
kidding.
was
I'm really not letting
the
go of this
bar.
podcast. You're not hijacking my freaking podcast. That was pretty convincing,
was-
though, right?
You think it's
It was
that
very
easy?
good.
I got a lot left in the tank.
You want a
But
podcast?
yes.
You got a podcast.
You know what? You take it. You take it. I'm gonna sign it over. After 4, and then you'll see like the wrestling headlines, on the Wrestling Inquirer or whatever the dirt sheet is. Podcast disbands after only 3 episodes, 3.5 episodes.
Yeah.
Richie has fully censored Mitch. It's all over.
Yes.
Yes. The Wrestle Geek met by.
There
met
is
by
dissension
general
among the
apathy.
ranks, folks. There's dissension amongst the ranks. Oh my God.
The Wrestle Geek universe. The Wrestle Geek universe is in shock.
We gotta shake things up a little bit. Yeah.
Uh,
Anyway, so what's up
So,
next, Howie? What were we talking about? Let's see. Yeah, take the reins.
yeah.
Take the wheel.
So in between the rumbles, we saw Jason Jordan. Well, we didn't really see much of Jason Jordan, but we saw Jason Jordan and Seth Rollins versus The Bar. And the audience, I will point out, were completely deflated after the
Yep.
Royal Rumble. It was everybody went to get beer, freshen up,
Take a leak.
and
Yeah.
take a lead. Yeah, that was the match that they used for that. And
Yep.
I
it was
think-
flat as a pancake.
I think we all did the same by me. Didn't we,
I
Mitch?
actually
We
think I
kinda
went and
took-
got another slice of pizza. I got a beer. Chased after my son a little while because he was running around like a nut job. And yeah, I think I did that as well. Absolutely. I may
Yeah,
have even
yeah.
taken a leak as well. I may have done all
Yeah.
of the above. I think I had my checklist, all of the above.
Yep.
Yeah, you come
But
back.
it was a
in
good
time,
match.
you come
It was
back-
a good match. The crowd was dead, as Howie alluded to. And the Bar won via pinfall. And they claimed the tag titles. So
I liked Seth Rollins' Bam Bam Bigelow inspired attire. He had
I
flaming.
actually commented on that immediately as soon as I saw him walk out.
You did.
Yeah.
I said I actually said I
flaming
had
stretchy pants.
in the '90s I had pajamas that looked exactly like that with the flames on them. So that's what it reminded me of. I mean, I wasn't feeling it. I think I prefer his original outfit. But,
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I don't know what they're doing with that. I've never been keen on Seth Rollins' music either.
no.
I think it's not.
Well,
It's just noise. It's just noise. He needs some melody. You know?
there is actually an update on that. From what I heard at a house show, he just got a brand new theme that is being performed by Killswitch Engage.
Great. Hopefully it's better than this.
That's good news because he needs it. Because there's nothing to get your teeth into. You think about some of Glorious. Everyone's singing along. They love it. It's like, oh, I love this. thing.
Shinsuke Nakamura.
Even freaking
He came to the
Shinsuke
ring and they
Nakamura
were
sing-
singing the song for 3 minutes after he was already in the ring.
yeah.
The music
Yeah.
was
Seth
off.
Rollins comes out and it's just like it's just noisy. I don't find myself humming.
It's just irritating.
I
too.
don't
It's
find
kind of-
myself
it's
humming
like
his theme at
obnoxious.
any
I feel
point.
like I hear Richie. This is a personal note, but I hear Richie all the time singing Roman Reigns' theme.
I don't know why. It just pops in my head.
Every time his mind wanders, all of a sudden you hear doo. I'm like, Rich, what are you doing? I don't know. It's in my head. I think he has a secret infatuation with Roman Reigns or something. I mean, it could be the Shield, though. I mean, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. I'll just assume that it's the Shield that he's music that he's singing.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. We'll go with that. Moving on. Thank you.
So
Where were we?
we're right in-
Jason Jordan, though. My God, what's going on with Jason Jordan? He was napping outside the whole goddamn match. Makes me hate the guy even more. I respect him as an athlete, but I can't. Yeah, they must be building to something where he's going to turn heel on Seth Rollins.
I'm kind of curious if that. You remember there was that rumor a while back, maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago, that he had that injury going on. Maybe he hasn't been fully cleared yet to compete because he really getting even into the match to wrestle at all. I don't even think he took a bump.
I'm not positive. I know. I just know I didn't see him much in the whole match. So at least it
He
felt
did.
like that.
He didn't.
I think he was outside. He got hit. He got thrown into the into the ring post, and then from that point he was down, and that was it.
He didn't do anything.
So there might have been something going on there.
That sounds like a very rational reason as to why that would have happened. Yeah, sounds legit.
So we're moving on to Brock Lesnar versus Kane versus Braun Strowman, the Universal Championship. Yeah,
this was a cluster fudge.
A cluster funch. Oh yeah, a cluster funch and munch. Oh yes, it was.
Highlight of the whole thing was the press have been all over the fact of when Braun Strowman gave him a knee
punch. Yeah.
And he punched him in the side of the head.
It was obviously an accident,
yeah,
and then Brock Lesnar kind of like took it to the next level and punched him in the head.
Well, Brock was upset, thinking he was going too fast. So the comment that he said that when he bleeped it out was "slow the f down." That's what he was saying to Strowman, and that's when he knocked him in the head because I guess Strowman was going a little. Strowman's overhyped. You're in a big profile match at one of the big 4 pay-per-views of the year.
He's still green, I mean, as much as I don't want to believe it, but he's still green,
But just think about it, how that now a punch from Lesnar and Strowman just took it and kept on going.
Yeah,
that guy.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like the one thing you got to give him credit for. I mean, he looked like he friggin' waffled him, pretty good with that punch.
Yeah.
But
Very
also
stiff.
to Brock Lesnar's credit, I mean, we already know the man doesn't have a glass chin. I'm a glass jaw.
Yeah.
He took that knee. That was a pretty when they showed the slow motion, it looks like that vibrated through his entire body.
Yeah.
He took it like a champ. I mean, a normal person to take a knee like that in the face from Braun Strowman, whose legs are probably the size of my body, like that was a pretty intense shot. And then that punch when they show, and WWE didn't even make like light of it. They're like, oh, and look at the replay, and they show in slow motion him getting punched in the face. They must have showed. Did they show the replay at least twice, right?
Yeah, I thought
it was 3 times.
Oh my god!
I thought they would hide it because they don't want to show.
That's what I thought.
Right.
Then I'm like, oh, that was like a real moment. They're not going to show that again. And then they continuously show it over and over again.
Vince McMahon was like,
wow.
Show the replay, damn it! I want to see a punch in the knee in the face.
UFC, I'll show them UFC.
Bitch!
Watch the real action. Watch the beast punch the monster. All right, in the kisser.
Oh yeah.
Michael Cole, his comment was like. It was like a punch like that would kill me, just, just like, yeah, it probably would. Yeah, they were loving that. But the match in general, I mean, do you know what? Kane was I actually found him incredibly annoying, and I respect Kane in the utmost. But I was just a bit like, why are you even here? There was parts of the match where I was, I was going to say Roman. God, he's got Roman on the brain again. He's in my goddamn subconscious.
It's like a nightmare. You hear that song? It's almost like the nightmare. It's like the fucking. Oh, excuse my language. It's like the Jason Voorhees theme. It's like the Jason Voorhees theme. It's like cha 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 cha. And you see Roman coming at you.
Goddamn Roman Reigns. As when Braun Strowman and Brock Lesnar were kind of going at it, and I was thinking, yeah, come on, can Braun pin Brock? Kane would appear, and he reminded me of when you're playing a video game, and you're trying to focus in on one guy and pin him, and then just out of nowhere, the guy that you forgot about, who in this instance is Kane, just rocks up and breaks the pin, and you're just like, fuck. It was like that. I was just like, dude, you're in politics now. Take the mask off. Get your suit back on. Come on. I don't know. I was confused with that whole angle of having him there.
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like, the match was like, it was everything you could expect from a match, and from this match anyways. And, it was an all right match. It wasn't great. It wasn't terrible. I just think it was what it was. And, here we go. So now we're moving on to the women's match, the women's Royal Rumble.
Royal Rumble!
Thank you, Vince. And it was a great match. I think that it definitely succeeded in one aspect. I felt like to where the other Royal Rumble failed, in my opinion, was that it had all of the old
all the superstars,
legends, not old, but old school legends, from like the Attitude Era and all that stuff. And it also had Ember Moon, who is the current NXT champion.
Her finishing move is phenomenal. Oh my god.
Awesome. The awesome stunner off the top.
Yep.
And she was selling her injury from the previous night.
Yes, she had her arm taped
Adam
up.
Cole. That was cool.
Yep.
I like the attention to detail.
Yeah, Adam Cole had the ribs taped up, like around the midsection. That was cool. I think it's I think it was pretty cool that they had all these older characters and stuff, and I think that's where that's one of the things you look forward to the most in the Royal Rumble is seeing like these guys from yesteryear, and now girls from yesteryear. I got to see the Lita Moonsault and things like that. So, and I thought it was pretty cool, and then the match itself was great, and yet again, Howie predicts the winner in both. Not only did he predict the winner of the men's, but he predicted the winner of the women's.
I think all three of us predicted Asuka for winning, didn't we?
Yeah, we did, yeah.
So, congrats, gentlemen.
I can't remember if I predicted that or if was Ronda Rousey even an option back then. Like, I think
you were saying if she was number 30, but if not, we were all agreeing it was Asuka.
Yeah, Asuka.
Well, let's face it. I don't want to go too far ahead, but let's face it. Ronda Rousey was the winner.
She was.
Yeah, this is where my biggest gripe of the night came. Okay, you have Asuka winning the Royal Rumble. Now, at that point, the show should have been at the very end, her in the middle, the two title holders, one on the left, one on the right. Which champion is Asuka going to choose? We're going to find out tomorrow night on Raw. It should have cut right there. The fact that Ronda Rousey gets introduced directly after that and comes out completely, I think, insults the entire match.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you have? I mean, okay, you want the big pop factor, okay? Great. You bring Ronda Rousey out, you completely deflated the entire historic moment of there being a first 30-woman Royal Rumble match, and it really insults Asuka and also being the winner of the match. I just found it kind of offensive and it really shouldn't happen. I would have much rather have the two, the same kind of scenario, like okay, then you have the two title holders and you have Asuka in the middle of the ring. Asuka in the middle of the ring, like, signing the contract for whichever female champion she's going to face, right? So say she decides to take on Alexa Bliss, which would probably be the best case scenario anyway. She signs the contract. Okay, that match is set. So they get ready to leave. Charlotte's still left in the ring. All of a sudden, Rousey's music hits, okay? Bad Reputation, Joan Jett. She comes out. Well, since I see that now, Asuka's challenged her competitor for WrestleMania, you seem to have the night open. And then they have a stare down, and then it ends at that point. Wouldn't it have been better to have a better introduction for Ronda Rousey on the Raw after, like they did with Brock Lesnar back after WrestleMania 28 with John Cena?
Yep.
But he said that The Rock was going to come out for a thing and wind up being Lesnar showing up for the big pop. I just think it would have been a better fit for having Rousey come out the next night on Raw to set something up, opposed to having her come out after the Royal Rumble when it was supposed to be such a promotion of them being the first ever 30 women's Royal Rumble match. They should have ended it after the national with games, and that should have been the end of it. That was my biggest gripe of the night.
I totally agree.
If they had, I agree with you 100% as well. I also think that if it was an absolute necessity that they brought out Ronda Rousey at the end of the show, then they should have just had her come out on the stage and point to the WrestleMania logo, and then that should have been the end of it. What was the point of her walking all the way to the ring and not saying a word? It didn't make any sense. So you should have just had her come out on the thing and how is Ronda Rousey gonna play into this whole situation? I can't believe she's here. And then she just points to the ring or points to WrestleMania sign, which I think looks like the Boy Scouts of America sign. I hate that logo. I can't stand it. Okay, but I think I think that's the way they should have done it. What was the whole point of her walking out if that was the case, you should just have her come and fight in the Royal Rumble and win, or get knocked out in a feud with somebody, for another match or something. I just thought that was ridiculous. Either ultimately, she like you said, Rich, she should have never came out, and then it should have been a next night thing. And they could have done the same thing with Asuka. Asuka is here. They could have opened a brawl. The two winners of the Royal Rumble are here, ladies and gentlemen. We have Shinsuke Nakamura and Asuka are both here. Tonight, who are they going to choose? And what we're going to make the announcement tonight. They're going to come out. They could have done that. And then Asuka could have came out. And then Stephanie could have been like, well, who are you going to choose to fight at WrestleMania? And then when she's about to open her mouth and say, Charlotte or whatever she's gonna say, then they should have had Ronda Rousey's music hit, and then she should, oh my God, I can't believe it! Look who's here! Then she could have came out and talked. But again, terrible. I feel like it was poor booking, terrible timing, and it leaves nothing for the imagination. Oh, well, because she didn't say anything. So you're gonna tell me that Ronda Rousey can't say a few lines? Like, Ronda Rousey is pretty vocal. I mean, she was already a huge star at the UFC. Probably the most popular women's fighter of all time. And they couldn't have her say 2 words. Like, what is she, The Undertaker? She has to point to the thing.
And the thing on top of it is the rumored match for her to be in at WrestleMania is her and The Rock in a mixed tag match with Triple H against Stephanie.
Ugh.
So if that is the route that they're going with, what the hell was the point of her coming out to view the winner of the Royal Rumble and the 2 champions, respectively, in the women's division? It has no presence whatsoever.
Yeah, the 3 of them should have kicked her ass. They should have kicked her ass.
That's it.
Yeah. And I tell you what, my going forward with Ronda Rousey is, if she is going to be walking an extremely thin wire with the WWE universe and the wrestling world in general, because be very committed, because the talent pool within women's wrestling in the WWE and beyond is the best it's ever been.
That's right.
And there's a lot of very worthy talent in WWE already and out there waiting to come up and through. And she's got this platform coming in, and I just hope she applies herself and actually really does work to be up there with the best, because obviously she's a talented athlete, but if it's forced upon everybody, as we've seen time and time again in this modern era, that if they're trying to, here's Ronda Rousey, she's, if she's not really good and actually works hard to come up with the goods, she's just going to get booed hard. And
on a high note, which I thought was one thing that was really, really super cool, is the whole, because I know the whole story from when she was on Piper's podcast way back when he was still alive, God rest his soul. From what I heard is that she actually did ask his permission to call herself Rowdy Ronda Rousey. So
right,
that was cool, and that he was a huge fan of hers, and also he was
wearing his jacket as well.
Right.
Yes.
Which when she came out, I said, Rich, is that Piper's actual? Because you could see it was a little too oversized.
Piper's son actually flew in, I think, from DC to the event and actually gave her the jacket the night of the Rumble.
That's awesome.
To go ahead and come out with it.
And Richie actually confirmed it the next day. He said, "Did you know it? You were right." And I said, "What?" And he's like, "Yeah, that was actually Roddy Piper's actual jacket."
Wow.
Which is cool. And and the one thing that I gotta say, we have nothing against Ronda Rousey. It wasn't her booking decision
not at all.
to bring these people out. I'm a huge Ronda Rousey fan. I was, even when she lost the 2 thing, I still was a big fan, and I was rooting for her on the next match. Unfortunately, didn't pan out. But I love Ronda Rousey. I think she's also super hot, by the way. But hold on, do I hear the music again? But up, there it goes. There it goes. Oh, there it is. I'm sorry, Rich. I'm sorry, guys. It was playing, by the way. It's just gonna be in the recording. So I think she's gonna do great, and I like the fact that Piper doesn't really have any next generation, next of kin, whatever. So it's almost like the whole thing with Charlotte, she's carrying on the legacy of the Flair family. I feel like this is kind of like almost like a stepdaughter kind of thing where she's like the next generation of Piper. You know what I'm saying? So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I agree.
I almost, just from an observation point of view, before Ronda Rousey made her entrance, when Asuka stood in the ring between Bliss and Charlotte Flair, she's there kind of like looking at each champion, and it was kind of like I was thinking, who will she choose? And it's kind of a bit like, oh, this could be awkward, because the one that doesn't get chosen is like, what? I'm the better champion. Why don't you want to fight me? I'm better. But who do you think Asuka's going to pick?
I think Alexa Bliss.
If Ronda Rousey's gonna fight one of them for some reason, I don't know why she's just. I guess because she's Ronda Rousey, so she's entitled to a title shot. But I mean, I know that if it's gonna be one of those, they're gonna put her against Charlotte. She's not gonna fight Sasha Banks. It's not gonna be a believable matchup. I don't think that people will accept that. So I'm gonna say Asuka's, like Rich said, is definitely gonna be Sasha Banks. And then when it comes to Ronda Rousey, she's definitely gotta. I mean, she's gotta go for.
You mean Alexa Bliss? We just said Sasha Banks again. Just
Oh, that's what I meant. Sorry about that.
okay.
So,
Speaking of
I don't know
Sasha
why
Banks, she was
thinking
uh,
of-
she
what
was
What was it?
Sasha Banks. I'm always thinking about Sasha Banks. Trust me.
I could have sworn her hair fell off the other day. I don't know why. But when I was watching her,
That's
grow,
her
I was
weave,
like,
man.
did her hair
She-
fall
That's
off?
her weave.
She's got it.
Oh
It's
my god!
It seems like in certain matches it gets worse and worse. She's almost gonna end up like Miss Jacqueline. You know that she gets older.
Oh,
pretty much.
poor Jacqueline. Yeah.
Jacqueline, yeah. God, I tell you, Mitch, you did say in the Rumble about the legends being there. They really in the women's one, Royal Rumble, they really contributed as well. Michelle McCool.
Oh my
Uh,
god.
she was fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, she looked great, and I think
Clean house.
Undertaker probably told her, "You better get out there and you better kick some ass, or else you ain't getting none tonight." Ding.
I
Listen here,
think
girl.
that's accurate.
Yeah.
That's an
Sounds bad. It
accurate
sounds
portrayal.
about right? Yeah.
And yes, Sasha Banks was the longest. She was the lady, the female competitor, women wrestler, diva, who was in the Royal Rumble the longest.
Hey.
And,
We don't use
I
that word
thought-
anymore. Hold on,
And
let
I
me get the
thought
music out again. It's degrading. We don't use that terminology anymore.
Goddamn patriarchy, keeping the
Damn
women
right
down.
to
What-
censor. Jesus.
How dare you? Sasha Banks was extremely impressive, I thought, and she is showing ever more signs of a heel turn. And I think everyone thinks she's great as a heel. She's so confident.
She's so much better as a
She's
bad-
so much
bad
better as a
girl.
heel.
Her
she's so much
promos
better.
and
I mean,
everything
she-
are just better. It just suits her character so much
And
more.
I don't know what it is, but I still find her to be extremely hot and sexy too.
I
She's
I'm
got
not
that.
gonna
lie.
She's got that swag going on. That naughty
Hold on a
nature.
second. Hold on a
I'm not
second.
gonna lie.
No. I'm gonna censor that. I have to censor that. I have the censor music going right now. We cannot allow this. This is not appropriate talk for a PG podcast. No,
I'm not gonna lie when I
I'm
say
kidding.
I think she's got it going on.
she is very, very. I mean, there was one
Going
point
on.
last night.
She's got it going on.
Not last night, but during the Royal Rumble, she was like sitting on the top rope, and the rope was like right over her hiney. And her
God
butt
damn it.
cheeks were like hanging over the top
Here
rope.
we
I
are.
was
We're
like, oh.
supposed to be celebrating the fact that there's the
Oh,
first
Jesus.
women's Royal Rumble, and
Oh,
it's
yes.
turned to this, where we're objectifying
And
women.
we're
How-
setting them back. Hold on a second. Let me get that music out again. You shall not. I repeat, you shall not. You shall not. You shall not degrade women and not set them back another 20 years. No, but
Other observations of
was
the
anybody else
women's
not?
Royal Rumble.
Was anybody else upset not to see Victoria in the Royal Rumble?
Yeah, what's
Yeah,
up with that?
Okay.
What's up with that?
What's up with that? That was the men's Rumble, Richie. You're getting confused now.
Victoria would have been, yeah, I reckon. Hey, they can't do it all in 1 year. We've got many more years.
Ah, good
true.
point. You got to
That's
save
true.
some for
We're
next
gonna
year.
get
Save some for
Medusa
next
in
year.
there.
In other words, what Howie was saying is that you cannot blow your load, folks. You cannot
No.
blow your load. Am I
No.
allowed to say that on the podcast?
Censor that, damn it!
You know,
Censor.
I
Oh,
wasn't
here it
thinking-
comes. Oh, you cannot say blow your load on the podcast.
What was
damn you,
Nia
FCC.
Jax was impressive in the Rumble as well.
I
I
wanted
also
her to
thought,
win. Me and Richie were rooting for her to win. Me and Richie were like, wait, she's got to win it. You know?
She
That was
should have
great.
won. Nia Jax was awesome.
another observation was Tamina Snuka.
Oh,
I'm kind of thinking,
white
what is
outfit?
she?
What is she
the hell is she-
doing? What
Is she-
is
I'm like, what is she? I'm like, right now we've got so much competition coming up from NXT, lots of
And then like
excellent talent, and she's still there on the payroll. I'm like, what does she do?
she's like
What
even
are you doing here,
during,
Tamina?
during that moment, she's taking on Lita, and then like Lita's like, come on, what are we doing? Are we sleeping over here? Come on, like and then like she wants to throw her out of the ring, and I'm like, oh god, just get out of the ring, please.
Yeah, she literally ran. She ran towards her and fell over the top rope. It was like,
she's self-eliminated.
God
She committed Royal Rumble suicide. She just jumped over the rope.
All right,
I'm out of here.
It must have been like Jimmy Snooker's like dying wish. He's like, Vince, please don't fire Tamina. He's like, okay, Jimmy, I give you my word.
Don't fire Tamina. Don't fire Tamina, brother. Please don't fire Tamina, brother.
Because I'm just like, she's got to be one of the ones, on the chop block. When
she's getting cut after WrestleMania.
I would be surprised if they fire any of the female talent before her. I will write the WWE a strongly worded letter.
Oh. Well, that basically wraps up the females Royal Rumble, and it wraps up Richie. It wraps up the whole
Royal Rumble
pay-per-view. And ladies and gentlemen, we are going right into our Monday Night Raw recap. Behind me here, the classic Raw intro, requested as per Howie. And ladies and gentlemen, here we go. So we're back, and we're going to kick off the Raw recap. Show opens up, Stephanie McMahon and Asuka kicking off the show. Sasha Banks interrupts. And, basically runs her mouth. Seems like she's definitely segueing into the heel, Sasha Banks. And it is Sasha Banks this time, folks. It's not me messing up anything. So, what do you guys think? Briefly, what do you say about this? Sasha Banks and Asuka setting up the match for later in the evening.
It's Richie, you first.
It was a good match, back and forth. I believe we're starting to see the old Sasha Banks, the boss. The heel is starting to come back out of her, so it's definitely going to be good for her character going forward. Again, Asuka looks strong, in the end, with the pulling up the submission victory. Over countering the Bank statement, I believe it was, and it was another good women's match.
It was a good match. It came later on in the evening. But
did you see the botch where Sasha Banks is going for a suicide dive between the ropes towards Asuka? Asuka's going to kick her out of the air, but she clips her feet on the middle rope or something, and then swings head first down towards the concrete, the matted concrete, and narrowly misses her head on the floor, and just it all came out okay in the end, but. Check it out! My God.
Yeah, it was pretty rough.
I just want to say to Sasha, thank you for sacrificing your body.
It's still real to me, damn it!
It's still real to me, damn it!
It definitely looked real, that's for sure.
Yes.
Then we moved on to last man standing match: Braun Strowman versus Kane. Looks like they're continuing with these. Strowman antics, where he at the end of the match he flipped over the whole announce stage and crushed Kane and defeated him. They made it look pretty legit the way they did it. I mean, he actually did it in front of a live audience. So, then whatever material they made that stage out of, I guess it was maybe some thin plywood or something. But he was able to flip it over. It looked pretty impressive. I mean, it was one of the more realistic seeming things than he's done in the past. He wasn't flipping over a semi or pulling down a whole scaffolding of, metal trusses or anything like that. So, what do you guys think of that? Any words?
Yeah, they're having to. They're having to keep Braun Strowman looking strong.
Literally.
Literally. It's such a McMahon idea. It's like, whatever you do, Paul, just make sure that Braun Strowman looks strong. and so he's like, and then creative get a hold of that. And they're like, you know what we could do each week? He could flip something different.
Yeah, that's what Mr. McMahon wants. He wants us to make him look strong. So we're going to make him look strong. He's going to be flipping shit over every week. He's going to be turning over the announce table. Let's even have him flip over a semi. It's going to be awesome. He's going to be so pleased, Mr. McMahon. We're going to have him flipping over stuff. He's going to look so strong.
But Braun, whenever you get done doing this, make sure to look directly into the camera, raise your arms up, and scream, Braun!
So yeah, because there's always this like dropout with him. Like, so now they're going to be setting up Reigns against because obviously got elimination chamber coming up. So they're going to be setting up Roman Reigns somehow to be lined up for Brock. So they've got to segue with Braun and continually make him look strong in the meantime, so that he can then, I don't know, what's going to happen to Braun at WrestleMania? Is he going to win the Andre Giant Battle Royal? That's
rumor is right now he's supposed to be taking on the Miz for the Continental Championship.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah. So he's going from Brock Lesnar to the Miz.
That's going to be a squash, surely. Oh, well, it'll be like a squash, but it'll be squashing the Miztourage as well. Wow.
Right.
And
So
we're moving on to the next match. It's an Elimination Chamber qualifying match, which I think is cool that they're doing. And you got Woken Matt Hardy, not broken. Let's not get confused because we want to make sure it's a WWE trademark type thing. Versus Elias Sampson, in a match, and the match was pretty solid. What do you guys think?
I just have one, gentlemen. I have one question for the both of you. Do you want to walk with Elias?
I do. I think he's awesome.
Yeah.
I definitely.
I think he's awesome. Yeah,
He's an exceptional chap, if I might say so myself.
I will definitely be one of the drifters if ever called upon.
I already am. I'm already drifting. I'm drifting right now. And as I was watching Raw, I started drifting too. In any case, maybe not in the right direction that they were hoping for, but I was definitely drifting. In any case,
who won? Who won this match?
Elias Sampson actually won the match.
Yeah,
he beat him with the drift away.
I did see at the end a clip of the continuation of Bray Wyatt mocking Woken Matt Hardy just through the medium of laughter. Just appeared on the screen. and it was just laughter, just continual laughter from both of them. Creative. What are they? They're at the creative writing table. All of these highly paid TV writers.
Guys, we need to figure out what we're going to do this week for Bray Wyatt and Woken Matt Hardy. I got it. Let's have them laugh at each other again for 5 minutes straight. Yes.
Yeah. So Elias, he's going to be in the Elimination Chamber.
Yep.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely. I love the push that he's getting.
I just think he's awesome overall. I just think he's great. It was a solid match. They did well. Good. Well, I don't know. I always mess that up. But very nice match, and it was cool. And then Wyatt, it was because of the there was some distraction by Bray Wyatt, I believe, right? Something happened where he got distracted and did that thing where it's like, yeah, and then I think the lights went out or something, and then he caught him with a boot, and then he gave him the drift away, and that was the end. Good match. I'm happy to see him in the Elimination Chamber. Up next, we had the Intercontinental Championship match again. Roman Reigns versus The Miz. Thank God The Miz won, actually by pinfall, which I thought was crazy. So not only did he lose the Royal Rumble match, then he lost by pinfall to The Miz the next night. So I don't know if they're pissed at him for something or whatever the story is, but it just seems like Roman's not looking very strong, folks, is what I'm trying to say. The Miz goes over, thankfully, thanks to distraction by the Miztourage. What do you guys think? Thoughts? Hopes, wishes?
It's just, buying time for Reigns to get into the Elimination Chamber, look strong, win the match, go against Lesnar at WrestleMania for the main event.
Right.
Yet again,
Howie?
Yeah. Roman Reigns doesn't need the Intercontinental title to look strong. He's strong enough. He's the strongest man on the roster.
Oh yes. So
Except for Braun Strowman. But he Richie hit the nail on the head. It's just a matter of time before he looks even stronger than before.
Hooah! Then we move on. Heath Slater. There we go, Rich. Heath Slater and Rhino versus the Revival. I think we kind of knew how this was going to end up. The Revival, goes over, and decent match. I mean, I'm a big fan of Heath Slater and Rhino. I thought they were very entertaining, and I thought that they worked pretty well as a tag team, even though it was a strange like a mashup, but they did well. They had some good whole. I got kids and all that thing. That it worked for a long time, and I think it's run its course at this point. I think Rhino should just turn heel and destroy Heath Slater, and then maybe win the Intercontinental belt or something.
They're going that's a big push for him. But one cool thing though about the Revival match was how they won the match. It was like I brought up maybe a couple of podcasts ago. They targeted the arm, a part of the body. Slater's arm was getting targeted. They chopped down Rhino's legs. We couldn't do the gore.
Yep.
Systematically breaking him down. Professional wrestling as it used to be back in the day in the 80s and everything.
And that's what makes me love them even more. Like I said, before they even really started pushing this whole thing, I remember saying that. They do remind you of like a Brainbusters or Four Horsemen or old school guys that we grew up watching. Which I think it's a good they need that in professional wrestling now. Not everybody could be a crowd pleaser, kissing babies and all that good stuff. So that was the end. Howie, any thoughts quickly on this match or?
No, actually. I think you've covered it well. I was just what I was really random thought. I was just wondering, Rhino. His name is Rhino. That's the only name I know of him. I was just wondering if when he goes home, if to see his parents, does his mum call him Rhino, or does she call him by his full name, which is Rhinoceros?
If I ever meet him, if I ever meet him again, because I've met him once too. I'm not sure if there's a picture of me meeting Rhino on my.
Excuse me, Mr. Rhino, sir. Yeah. I've heard your full name is Rhinoceros. Is this true? Is that what your mommy calls you?
She'd have a laugh like that.
When his wife's angry with him, she's like, "Rhinoceros, listen to
me." Completely ridiculous. Will you get serious? Vince McMahon, Bobby Heenan.
Rhino. How much more can Rhino and Heath Slater do? Just surely it's a matter of time. And then where can they go? What can they do?
I don't know. Time will tell.
I think it's just Rhino having fun. It's a payday, he's enjoying himself.
Yeah. And he's on the end of his at the end of his career, like not that he's that old, but I'm sure he's winding down here, so it's fun for him and he gets to put the younger talent over, which I guess that's their thing now. The old guys that paved the way are not allowed to win a match except Chris Jericho, which, I'm okay with that too. But in any case, so Asuka has a Sasha Banks match. They fight, and I think it was a solid match. I did see a lot of this match. Asuka defeats Sasha Banks via tap out, and it was a good match. I enjoyed it actually. I actually watched every second of it, and I thought it was great. You guys have any thoughts on the match or?
No, like I said earlier, it was really good to go back and forth match. I mean, they're both very high intensity superstars. I mean, Asuka always brings it to the table. I mean, always highly performed, great character. She's so quick with her kicks and it's her athleticism, what she can do. And she can put you into a submission hole like when you least expect it as well. So it's always fun to watch her actually perform. And like Sasha Banks is putting back on the boss persona. She's actually getting more into groove. It gives her more of a personality, connects with the fans better, I think. And it was a good overall match. And it ended by submission, which is another great way to end a match.
Yeah, I think you were saying that Asuka, she's so kind of crisp with her movements. One of the things that I'm continually impressed with about Asuka is that, her style of her kind of how can I put it? The theater of what she does in the ring is very, very effective and communicates really well. It transcends the kind of language barriers, I guess, that she has. It's everything in her facial movements, the way that she she's very theatrical. The way she walks down to the ring, it's a connection in itself. It's kind of like like a masterclass in theater. That's how I see what Asuka does in the ring. It's pretty deep.
Yeah, she's exceptional, and she deserves everything that she gets. I thoroughly enjoy her, and I'm happy that she won the Women's Rumble as well. And I'm glad they're pushing her, and I'm happy that she doesn't have that stink on her, that stigma about coming up from NXT and kind of like floundering or getting lost in the shuffle. I feel like they're definitely playing their cards right with her.
Yeah,
and I think that she'll go a long way.
Actually, you've just raised a really good point. I mean, we talk about what we've seen this week at Royal Rumble, having Shinsuke Nakamura and Asuka, two very talented superstars from Japan. I mean, we haven't ever had two Japanese wrestlers extent in the WWE. I mean, what was it, Jimmy Wang Yang or Yoshitatsu? Yeah, I mean, it was
the Great Kabuki. Oh yes.
The last time, I mean, with Shinsuke Nakamura, just going on a little segue, with Shinsuke Nakamura being lined up to be in contention for the WWE Championship, this is like the first time since like 1978-9, when Antonio Inoki held the Worldwide Wrestling Federation Championship.
Yeah.
So this is pretty big stuff they're doing now.
Yeah, and I was even joking around about it, and not that it's a joke or anything like that, because I've always been very infatuated with like the Asian contingent and stuff like that. Like I loved Yoshihiro Tajiri. I thought Tajiri was awesome. I feel like he had such a good personality too for somebody that couldn't speak English like perfectly. And I thought he was great, especially the stuff he did with Regal and all that, and that was really cool, man. Like, he's definitely the first person that comes to mind. I'd like to use Yokozuna, but he wasn't legitimately Japanese. But yeah. I did like Yokozuna, though. I thought he did a great job, and when I was a kid, and we were talking about this earlier, I believe off recording, I totally believe that he was actually from Japan. It was believable, and he was definitely convincing as a Samoan. I mean, as a sumo. Even though he was Samoan, is what I'm saying, but yeah, definitely an awesome thing. So,
for sure. Let me ask you guys a question about this. So this is like behind the scenes look. Now we have two of the biggest Japanese stars in the industry today winning their respective Royal Rumble matches, going on to main event WrestleMania. Do you think this is a way for WWE to try to say not only to the Japanese fans, but more importantly to New Japan Pro Wrestling, that we recognize your stars and how they are crossover by the States as being the top pedigree in this industry? And is it possibly the reason why they actually have two Japanese stars winning their Rumbles is kind of maybe in the future trying to get some kind of deal broken between the two companies as far as maybe using superstars on both ends? I mean, Jericho kind of went over there and did it with Kenny Omega.
It's kind of like,
so maybe
keep your friends close and keep your enemies closer. Like they're almost like that direct competition.
Exactly.
So with this whole like Asian invasion thing, it's like that's basically what it looks like. It looks like like the Asian folks contingent are dominating the TV waves right now. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like at least that's the way I see it. And it makes total sense too what you're saying, Rich. It's like kind of like it's either a nod or it could be like almost like a haha, we can do it too. We
right.
Like we have...
Yeah, I think it's possibly a competition thing as well. It's WWE have never been able to truly set into Japan.
Nope.
In a way that they would like because of obviously
New Japan.
New Japan.
For them too. I mean, if you think about the pro wrestling over there, and
massive.
Stuff like that, that's a big money. That's a big money for them. I mean, I think they've started already conquering the Indian market, like with
Jinder Mahal win the world title at a certain point and getting over there and getting.
They love Roman Reigns. They love Roman Reigns in India. They have him on the side of buses and stuff.
He kind of looks like he could be of Indian descent. You know what I'm saying? Middle East.
Could be a hero, a hero from a Bollywood film.
Yeah. So he's like, well, if my cousin could play a Japanese guy, I can definitely play Indian. For God's sake, I'm Roman Reigns. I love curry food, man. You know, like I don't know, but but
Yeah,
So
it's
moving
gonna be.
on. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say it's going to be very, very interesting to see what happens over the next year with regards to
Yeah.
Japan and
It's somewhat exciting.
how they're putting
Yeah.
across
Yeah.
Asuka and Shinsuke Nakamura.
Yep. So, and then the next match before the final match of the evening was The Bar defeats Titus Worldwide. I mean, there's no surprises here, really, folks. It is what it is. It's a match between these four. I don't think we really need to go over this too much. I mean, I'm no disrespect to any of the talent involved, but I mean, enough is enough already. I mean, it's like I don't want to see this match again. So we're gonna go right into the final match, which I actually enjoyed and I thought was a great match. It was John Cena versus Finn Balor. For a spot in the Elimination Chamber, I believe it was also, right? So,
Yes, it was.
Yeah. So of course, Cena goes over with the STF, but both men, I think, made a great great effort to, pull the match off and make it entertaining. And, even John Cena with the whole, like, when he puts him up in the, for the FU or attitude adjustment, he did the whole Wolfpack symbol, and everything, like the Bullet Club, Balor Club, whatever you want to call it, club, symbol. And then he gave him the F5. That was kind of cool. I feel like little by little, they're pulling out the heel Cena. Like you saw it in the Royal Rumble. Then the next day, he's kind of like, giving the fans it, like with kind of like mocking Finn Balor in the match, and I like it. I really like it. I like John Cena as a person. I think he is he's definitely an asset to the company. I feel like he's done a lot for the Make-A-Wish, which for me, I hold that in high regard. And then, as does I'm sure everybody else. And I feel like if he turns heel, I know it'll be a little bit of a loss for them for merch, but I feel like it would be cool to see him, as a heel again.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely for sure.
So that was the end of Raw.
I think
Cena goes on to the Elimination Chamber.
What was interesting about this match with Finn Balor was Finn Balor obviously didn't win the Royal Rumble, but he was the guy that was in the Royal Rumble the longest.
Right.
And so he did actually come out looking strong.
Looking strong. I also thought his outfit was awesome too in the Royal Rumble with the red and the red jacket and everything like that. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, he had a logo on the back of his jacket as well, which
I didn't even see that part. All I remember seeing was the red jacket. I was like, Rich, does he have a red jacket on? He's like, yep.
I haven't noticed him with a logo on the back before, but I was actually thinking what would finish his look really well is a pair of wraparound glasses. and he could take them into the crowd before his matches and find a child.
Wow, I don't think that's ever been done before.
I don't know.
He could put his Balor shades over the child's head, and then tag hands, and everyone would be like, "Wow, this guy, I'm just going to give him my utmost respect."
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But Balor, what I was going to say was so he looked strong in the Royal Rumble, but although he lost this match with Cena, it was a competitive match, and Cena had to finish him off with the super attitude adjustment from the middle turnbuckle in order to get the job done, which again shows, it wasn't an easy victory. It was was kind of like that's what you have to finish AJ Styles off with, 2 or 3 of those things. And so it kind of made him look strong still, but it's kind of, he is in this kind of limbo status where
he's still there, and he's still not winning the matches,
yeah.
He's looking strong, like you said, but he's not winning the matches as yet. So that was the conclusion of Raw, and that was also the conclusion of the Royal Rumble fallout for Monday. And as we speak, the SmackDown is going on right now, so which we kind of don't show a lot of love to SmackDown, which doesn't mean that we don't love SmackDown, but the way that our schedules are and the way we have to film the podcast.
Well, I actually do have 2 updates as far as SmackDown goes. If you guys want to hear it, as well as our listeners.
Breaking news, ladies and gentlemen.
Breaking news. As of next week, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn will challenge one another and battle to see who will have the right to challenge WWE Champion AJ Styles at the next pay-per-view for SmackDown, WWE Fastlane. That's the first one.
Who's gonna get the finger pin of doom? That's what I want to know.
I don't know.
Ah.
And I think you guys will definitely like this. It is truly Rusev Day. Rusev won a fatal 4-way match to earn a United States title match against Bobby Roode next week on SmackDown.
And he's gonna lose. So.
Well, at least he's back in the title picture.
And I hope he just steamrolls Bobby Roode and takes the belt, because I really want to see Rusev as somebody again, and I think he deserves it. So, but he organically got over. It was not like they forced it down anybody's throats. You know what I'm saying? I don't even think they expect
could
it.
happen. Could happen.
I also think that nowadays, for some strange reason, they look down on that. Like, they don't want, if you don't want you to be over, then you shouldn't be over, and I think that kind of holds people back too. But at least in their mentality, it sounds silly, but that's basically the way it is.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
But all right, boys. Well, it's been real, and I'm glad everybody. Howie, thank you for staying with us. I know we got a little bit of a late start today, and Richie and I were having our little Chinese food feast. So I appreciate you hanging out and staying with us late, even though you got to get up for work tomorrow. And we'll definitely catch up with everybody next week, and we hope you're enjoying the podcasts. This is, like I said, our 4th episode, and when we try to put as much heart into it as we can with our other busy lives and jobs and things like that. And be sure to keep us favorited on YouTube. And you can listen to us on Spreaker as well, Wrestle Geek Podcast, and like us on Facebook and Instagram, Wrestle Geek Podcast, the one and only. So check us out. And then also, folks, don't forget our sponsors, Hastel Toy, on Instagram, on Facebook.com. However you want to contact us, it's HASTTELTOY, Hastel Toy. And last but certainly not least, our other sponsor, Wrestling Figure Workshop. You can find him, Howie, of course, on Facebook, Instagram, Pony Express, Sister's Rear, all that good stuff. Vic Diabetto, I love you. Shout out to Vic Diabetto. I think that's how you say it, right? Vic Diabetto.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's it.
He's a good man. He's got to get the bread. We got to get the bread and milk. I forgot my bread and milk because it was snowing out and I couldn't get there. But anyway, so all right, boys. Thanks again.
Thank you.
We hope to catch up with you again next week.
Thank you to our listeners out there. Always enjoy, entertaining all you guys out there, and look forward to coming back to you guys next week. Howie, Mitch, pleasure as always, guys. I'll talk to you next week.
Yeah, have a good week, guys, and let's do some more wrestle geeking next week.
Sounds good. Cheers to that, my friend. Cheers.
Oh yeah.